Okay, we're back for another night. So, where I left off was kind of in a embarrassing spot, at least with pushing the code up to GitHub. I had an error in my Git submodules, which I actually did figure out what the problem was with that when it came to pushing it. When I did my renaming of the URL variable in my struct last night, it also modified it here, and that caused a push error. So other than that, someone, I forget their name, begins with an H. I barely caught this before I ended the stream, but he said interesting, or I don't know, he or she said something interesting about how I was naming my my videos, or my commit messages. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that real quick. So when I first created the project, I went ahead and I just did a normal init commit and just left it as that. But I guess I'm going to correspond my commits with a video number and the date I did it. So hopefully that's present in GitHub well enough. As a reminder, the code can be found there simply by going to the Twitch feed. At the bottom, there is the social for YouTube and GitHub, where all the videos up to this point have been uploaded, except for last night's. I will do that tonight. And the repository can be found here, Elastic IRC Bot. So this was yesterday's stuff. Okay. Well, enough of that. Why don't I get started? So yesterday, I ran into an issue with the curl request taking a bit too long. There were two issues I ran into. I know I just said use it in the singular as if there was one, but there was actually two. Probably the biggest one was how I created my URL appender. Let's see. Before I created the URL appender, I went ahead and tried to copy the base URL that's being passed in as a char pointer into the actual connection piece. During that copy, I had gotten the actual size, the strength of, or the length of the URL, and then tried to do a copy on it. I was using the strn copy function, but I ended up switching it just to strcopy, which I guess apparently did a better job of copying. I actually had, with the strn copy, I passed in the actual length of the URL to it. But the problem with that is that sometimes there would be miscellaneous characters at the end of that string, and I had no idea where the hell those came from. So this actually works consistently and better as far as the copy is concerned. So I kind of did that. And then I ran into the other issue of where the requests were taking like way too long to actually submit through curl. There was like some weird blocking thing that would happen where I would have to throw like some sort of breakpoint into my application in order to make it stop, just so I can see what's kind of going on. And I think it has something to do with the fact that I have nobody turned on. I had that turned on, and I just now turned on verbose. Then I did turn on verbose so I can see this output right here. But the interesting thing is with the nobody, I should be able to see output when I run this. Oops. Or without the nobody. Okay, I'm still not seeing the output. Wow. I thought I had an idea of what was going on, but I guess not. So I'm just going to throw that breakpoint in there, and then now we actually get some content that comes back from the actual curl thing. So I don't know what's blocking it. I had a couple of ideas. One of my ideas of it being blocked was that this is running on some thread, so whenever it's trying to do the actual call, there might be some lock on the file or something like that, or I don't even know what happens internally, but like there was some sort of lock going on that wouldn't release until I kind of just threw a breakpoint in there or something like that. Yeah, so that's basically where we're at, is that I want to try to solve this problem that I have no idea what's going on here. So this is the first time I ever ran into it, and this is my second time ever working with curl, the C library directly. So um, so I'm basically just gonna try to dick around tonight and see if I can get anywhere with this. I know it's not super fun, but you know, debugging's half the battle with when it comes to doing anything with code here. So I'm just trying to get an idea of what's going on here. Let's see. Could try to throw another breakpoint in there, see if it breaks on anything. Yeah, so I don't know what this 100 continue is. See, when I run this in paw, or if I try to run something similar in paw, I do get the bad request. That's a fact, but I'm not seeing anything, at least right off the bat, of whether or not it had jumped through some loops. Not loops, hoops to get there, because it's expecting a continue and it didn't get a continue, but instead got a bad request here. Yeah, so I'm just trying to look at this output that I have here. So the function I'm actually calling is this one right here. Last night I went ahead and started creating this curl slist and started appending some headers to it, because I know I'm passing over the JSON content type over here, so I went ahead and added that in, added the HTTP header to add the headers in. I'm apparently adding in twice. That's not good. And then here's the post data that I'm supposed to send over in some horribly formatted way. And then I also free the headers here, but I should probably free them again, even if it did work. So we'll go ahead and fix that. Yesterday I added in some sort of a buffer to get back some error output if some error output actually happens, but I have not been seeing that. This is not error output, this is just verbose data, so that's why that's in red. Alright, let's see here. So I'll try turning it off, see if that makes a difference. I'm just going to toy around with this. Yeah, same issue. Interestingly enough, I think it makes me wonder if this means is that it's trying to expect me to put some content into this, like stream it in or something, because I find it odd that I wonder if there's actually like meaning to these to these characters. Yeah, see, transfer encoding chunked. I don't know what that means, so let's go look at that. Let's go look at that real quick. Okay, I do not want to read a mailing list. I guess I don't understand what it's supposed to do. Transfer encoding slightly differ slightly from the content encoding, in that the transfer encoding is strictly meant to be for the transfer, and thus must be decoded before the data arrives in the client. Traditionally, transfer encoding has been much less used and supported by both HTTP and HTTP servers. Okay, so let's accept encoding. Well, it might be nice to see if what's actually being passed to this. So the accept encoding is actually gzip. Content type is the JSON. User agent doesn't mean anything. I know I'm missing a user agent, but I doubt Elasticsearch requires that. Because I could try to remove it, I suppose, if I can. No, I think it's automated. I don't think I need a user agent. Whatever, might as well add one. This is a bot after all. User agent, I think I could just pass in that. I doubt that's going to do anything. If I turn nobody back on again, because I was getting content at some point last night. I'm just trying to replicate what I had going on here. Okay, so put in the user agent, accept everything. I don't know what this is. Man, this kind of sucks. Wow, that was not the browser link I wanted to open. Here we go. libcurl, expect 100 continue. Well, someone searched for this. Oh. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Ooh, okay, so if it adds it, then hopefully we can remove it. Yeah, so there's the header right there, expect 100 continue. So what should I set it to? Curl doesn't touch it if it's explicitly set. Alright, so let's have a look at that actually. So let's see if there's a option for that. Okay. I wonder. Milliseconds. Huh. Interesting. My two viewers that are watching, feel free to always chat. I love it when people chat, especially in times like this. It's a good distraction. Pass along to tell the curl number of milliseconds to wait for a server. And yeah, I don't think this is going to do anything. Maybe it's an indefinite timeout currently. I mean, it says by default it waits 1 second, but if I'm going to be honest here, it's been way more than a second. Screw it. Let's just do it like 500 milliseconds or something like that. That should be half a second. Nope. Too long. I'm going to lower it. There. I don't think this is going to do anything. This is just a shot in the dark. Trial and error. Yeah, it's not going to do anything. Okay. I don't know. Okay, so I actually work in web. That's my day job. So it's kind of funny and ironic that I don't know what this expect header is. So I'm going to look it up, see what options I can pass into it. Okay, to disable it, I guess I remove it. That's an option. Let's go ahead and set to 0. I doubt that's going to do anything, but okay, so it still added that header. All right, so let's just try removing it manually by setting it to nothing. So we can do that. I think all I need to do is just copy and paste that. Then we'll do expect nothing. Okay, well that got rid of the header. Still didn't solve our problem. At least the header's gone. Which makes me wonder if it's something else. I forget if no body means that there's not going to send any body response back or not, or if it means that I'm not passing any body content, which I know for a fact I am passing a body content. Let me think. That would be a good time to look online for an example of this. The curl put. This is a start. Easy send. Huh. Ooh, this is interesting. Don't use that. Make it a... Okay. I mean, it's worth a shot. The JSON struct isn't deserialized there, or serialized there, but that's okay. Alright, screw it. Why not? I'm for anything at this point. Okay, we're going to stop it, rebuild, and do it. Oh, hey! What? It would be nice for an explanation, Mr. Stack Overflow poster. I wonder if someone put a comment in there. Maybe I should have read the documents. Cool. Well, that is going a lot faster than I was expecting. I mean, it's definitely not slower, that's for sure. I swear, if that's it, oh, I'd be pissed. Damn. Now it's moving quickly. Bad request, awesome. 0 length body, that's fine. I don't want a body. In fact, I would actually rather have the headers in this case. I don't really care for a body, but I know this is working, or at least it's one good way for me to test to make sure that all this is working really well is to go ahead and actually try to change the index name and the name of my document. So I'm going to call my new document doc test 2, something like that. Sure, why not? I'm going to go to main C, and I can leave this how it is. I'm not using it anywhere, but I'm going to change it just for the sake of doing so. What did I call it? Doc test 2? Yeah. Let's go back to that tab. Doc test 2. Doc test 2. Cool. And then this index will just be called IRC 2. And then what should happen is when I run this, I should see in my list here, I should see another item starting at position 4. So let's go ahead and run the debugger. And it breaks at that. That's what I want to see. Let's do a query here, and there it is. So successfully, I am now adding indexes with a mapped document with a payload. So I think that's it for this function. This part needs to be addressed. I will find a library for dealing with the JSON bits. I am not going to deal with the JSON bits by hand. That'd be dumb. So you could argue I'm being dumb by using curl by hand too, but it's better than doing this all through a socket, I would argue, for sure, because I definitely could have done it that way. One interesting thing to point out is that yesterday I did go down the path of doing these little connection things here, where I changed the struct, return a different struct if the connection is established, to kind of keep up with some sort of a fluent API, and that would be that could be kind of considered a fluent API in languages like C# or Java or C++ or anything that's object oriented really, then I started thinking, well, maybe I'm doing no better by the global allocators and deallocators for curl by having these two functions here. Just an interesting thought I had, but I don't know why I mentioned it or called it out, but I'm waiting for someone to write a comment saying, yeah, you're being dumb, but I guess not. So I'll leave it. All right, well, while I'm at it, for now, I'm going to leave this here. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do one of these numbers. If def debug, go ahead and set that. What is it? End if. Oh, I forgot the thing for that. Let's see here. C end if. Elif end if. Okay, so it's just end if. So if def end if. Right. If def debug. Go ahead and define that. Likewise, I will put the error output defined in there too. I'm going to remove the user agent that's no longer needed. No body. I definitely don't want that, and no progress. So I may want body content in the future, but for now I don't want that. And since I moved the error buffer stuff into there, this is where things get a little hairy by putting macros everywhere. And what should end up happening is as I call this, in debug mode, I should get all my output and not in prod mode. So let's go ahead and verify that. Okay, let's see if that works in at least debug mode. Okay, it definitely does not. All Alright, that means I need to set that flag, which I do not know how to do. Awesome. It wouldn't be an environment variable, that much I do know. It wouldn't be a program argument either. I wonder if it has something to do with the tool chain. So let's go ahead and look at those settings. It's probably a good thing that I'm doing this now anyway, to kind of show off the editor I use. It's not perfect, but I definitely like it a lot. Oh, dmake build type debug. DC make build type debug. I would probably want that. I don't know if these are default or not. Ugh. Well, time for a quick Google here. CMake debug. Dmake debug. I wonder if this will do it. Ooh, I could add them here too, couldn't I? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick to the tool chain. Let's see if that works. Ooh. Manually specified variables were not used. Oh, wow, what was that? And that got hit, and still nothing. Whatever. I thought I'd try it. So what I'm going to do instead then is, well, okay, let me try renaming it. I wonder if it's case sensitive, and then I promise I will stop going down this path. Okay, is it not going to run? Oh, just have to rebuild it real quick. Yeah, I got nothing. Okay, I am not going to fiddle with that any further. So let me go ahead and reset that. I'll look into that at a later time. Where do they go? Preferences, command. Oh shoot, now they're off screen. Or not. Ah, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and ignore that then for now. Sorry about that. Thought I'd give it a shot. I've always wanted to try to get that working. I've never actually done a C project where I've actually managed to get that working through the compiler. So if not defined, debug, then I guess. Okay, there we go. All right, that'll do. Or I could have just done define debug, because whatever. But that, at least by having this this right here, I can go ahead and define it, and I can always remove that later. Okay. So that's that. So we're creating indexes now. I don't know if I got a bad request that time, so I'm going to go ahead and check the log output again to make sure that I'm not getting another 400 bad requests when I create this, because if I am, then I need to think about how I'm working with Elasticsearch here, because I don't know if I should be seeing something different like a 200 OK. I would imagine I would, but 400 is no good either. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, let's go ahead and check. Okay, so I am getting a 200. Okay, so I'm getting a 400 if it already exists. existed. But my function is create if not exist already. So I'm just going to leave that how it is. Whether it gets a 400 response back or not, I don't think I want to handle any kind of weird situations at the moment. Because I always want this to return true, so even if there's a 400, I don't really care. But it would be nice to not have to do the call again. It would be nice to not have to do the call out to the server multiple times in the curl request. So I mean, I guess as long as people using the API, especially me, are only making sure to do this once, then outside of everything, then that's okay. I guess it would be like some sort of a app startup sort of deal. So whenever the program first runs, it'll go ahead and create if it doesn't exist. And then otherwise, we're going to start inserting content into it. So that would be the next logical step, is filling out the actual insertion of documents into it. Okay, so Dr. Cactus asked, how long have I been working on this? First time tuning in. Much longer than I care to admit. Gosh, I don't know. This must be week 3. 3 or 4, week 3 or 4, no, probably week 3. And I usually typically do about 3 Twitches a week. Is what I have time allotted for about an hour, so I'm about almost done here in another 15 minutes probably, but that's typically how it's been going. So yeah, I hope that answers your question well enough. Oh, sorry, we have another half hour, not 15 minutes. I'm not keeping track of time well enough. Okay, so where was I? Okay, Elasticsearch insert. So, all right, we have our index. Now we need to insert records into it. The key difference here between this and the index creation is we're actually going to use a post. And we're actually going to make use of the document and the index being passed into the, or passed in as like the URL here. And then I just have some information here. So for those of you who are just tuning in, right now I have some tests set up for interacting with Elasticsearch. My payload is a payload similar to what would come back from IRC. In a much more previous video. Well, actually, I can just explain that right now. So when I invoke this bot, part of the lexer and the parser will eventually produce an IRC command that I will get back, and through that I can read the, as per the IRC spec, I can read the command name, which is either a code or it's a name. And then it's going to give me parameters that are associated with that command. In this case, whenever a message comes in through IRC, it is of type command priv message. And I can actually demonstrate that later if you guys want me to. Just say so in chat. And then a command type and some various other information. So my document right now contains the time. Not the command itself, but the where is it? But the username, which is a part of the prefix, which is right here, and then the message, which is actually one of the parameters coming back from that. Episode 1 was not recorded. I misjudged how Twitch worked. So, I'm sorry about that. So it starts at 2. Anyway. Okay, so essentially what I need to do here is I need to basically just recreate this payload that I have here, similar to how I did it up above, except switch it out from being a post to actually or put to a post. So I am just going to probably copy and paste this. Not recommended, but just going to do that. And then I'm just going to take it piece by piece. It looks like I've already gotten started on appending the URL here, but I'm just going to override it and then just go by line of what I need to be doing here. Okay, so I get the connection, I get the index name, I get the document name, I create a headers. If curl does not exist, go ahead and return false, because you need to have a connection, and then actually what I should do is I should pass in, no, I promised myself a long time ago in another video I was not going to do null checks like that. So I'm going to leave it as is. Create the URL. Okay, so the document needs to be passed in. Document name. I'm going to keep the content type of application JSON. This now I think gets removed. I want to double check on the actual documentation for this, because if put was deprecated, and I wonder if post was too. So let me go ahead and Google that real quick, because I don't want this to be in the same situation as it was with the put. Okay, curl post. Octocat, what is Elasticsearch? Okay, so are you familiar with NoSQL databases at all, Octocat? Okay, well, I'll assume the answer is, I'll just assume it's a yes, because NoSQL is a buzzword. Roughly, okay. Okay, so there's relational databases, which are like your MySQL, your Postgres, your SQLite, your SQL Server, your Oracle, so any kind of like relational database. Elasticsearch is a document-based database service or engine, whatever you want to call it. So essentially, it's optimized for performing searches on data, whereas relational databases are optimized for storing data. Elasticsearch is meant to be, well, for all intents and purposes, searched through the usage of documents. So that's essentially what Elasticsearch is a search engine, hence the name. So it's just another tool to use. I could use... so Elasticsearch is built on top of Lucene. I don't know what Lucene is, so don't bother asking. But I think it's the back end for how Elasticsearch really works behind the scenes, as far as like storing documents, rating documents, searching for documents through like speech. So like if you misspell something, it works great for that. So all good stuff. So hopefully that answers your question well enough. But essentially, the goal of this bot is to sit in an IRC channel, grab information from it, and then I'm going to throw it all to Elasticsearch. And then from the comfort of my couch in the other room, I can go ahead and try to calculate how many times someone has said the word fuck in IRC. That's just... kind of where I'm headed towards with this, but I could do more interesting things if I wanted to, but that's just where I'm at right now with the point of this program. So I'm not seeing anything to suggest that it's deprecated. Okay, so maybe okay, so using post with HTTP 1.1 implies the use of expect 100 continue. I do not want to do that. So I think I might actually go ahead and keep it as not curl post, but change it to custom request to post to avoid that nasty situation once again. I'm going to pass in the headers. That's A-OK. Okay, so go ahead and perform it. If it worked, sweet. If not, go ahead and print something out to the error. Otherwise, free the headers. Cool. I could probably move this up so I'm not doing it twice. Oh, no, wait. I don't want to do that. I want to free the headers after it's already performed. My bad. Well, what I could do is I could have some sort of variable as a result. I'll worry about that later. I don't really care to do any refactoring at the moment. Okay, so that's all good. I'm going to go ahead and take what I have in my paw here, get the actual text representation of this, go ahead and copy that into Sublime, do some text processing on it. So I did this last time. I'm just going to select all quotes, escape them suckers, get all lines, get the ends of them, and then get the beginning of them, and then just copy and paste. So the cool thing about paw is I can actually put in like these little variables in there to specify like dates and things like that, but I'm not going to have that luxury right here unless I do some randomization, which I don't feel like doing just for testing, so I'm going to ignore that. Anyway, okay, so this should work. Let's see if it actually does. So I'm going to keep the document as IRCL3 and doctest3 because when I query it, I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste this to be query. What I name my index? IRCEL3. So I'm going to do that just so I can keep track of what's going on here. So IRCEL3, make sure I'm actually inserting into it. And then the document is doctest3, doctest3, sweet. Okay. So when I query this, I should get information back, but I get nothing because 3 items. I shouldn't have anything in here. Yeah, I don't have anything in here. I don't know. Oh yeah, hits 0. Perfect. Okay, so I have nothing in here. So no results. And we've already established that it's been created, so I'm going to go ahead now and then do elastic search create or insert, and then I'm going to pass in that connection. So it's elcon is what I named it for testing, IRCEL3, and then doctest3. All right. That's it. I need to actually in my functions actually parse out the headers and actually return true or false, for if it actually did work or not. But I will get to that later. I just want to make sure that I actually get something in there first. Let's see what we get. Ooh, bad request. Bad request. Well, that's not good. Okay, let's see why. All right, so insert record URL or the index, the document, which is doc. Oh, see the problem? I misspelled it. Where did I misspell that? Oh, yeah, there it is. Doc. That was it. All right, let's try it again. Debug. And, oh, bad request again, even after I renamed it. Let's see here. UTF-8, nice that it caught on to that. IRCEL, yeah. Doctest3. Well, I didn't misspell it this time, at least I don't think. Pretty sure I didn't. Let me check this function real quick. I may have misspelled it here. Doctest3. Nope. No hits. What am I missing? The base URL is fine. Okay, let's see if it's a put. Let's make sure it's a put. It does say bad request, but it is a post. Yep. Is there a header? Application JSON? No, that's good. Bad request. Well, there's our index. Should have something in it. Interesting. It'd be nice if I got a little bit more information from that. Probably because I have no body turned on. Let me turn that off to see if there is an actual response coming back that I should be aware of. And there isn't. Oh, now it's giving me 201. I wonder what that's all about. Okay, so now it decides it wants to work, and there should be one item in there, and indeed there is. Curious. So we have the index, the type of the document, the ID that was created, a score because this was a 100% match on the search with my payload put in. So interesting. Okay, well, okay, so I have about 15 more minutes. That's really all I wanted to get working tonight, because tomorrow I wanted to get back into the actual parsing of the of these messages. I actually came up with a fantastic idea of how I was going to solve these problems. The next video is going to have me go over that because I had some downtime at work this week due to a flood at work. So I was actually able to work on this some, and I came up with a pretty interesting idea for doing my my actual text parsing. That actually involves this right here. But I'm open up for chat sessions now. I'm just going to do some cleanup work to to make sure everything's top notch. I'm going to handle working on the other bits probably a lot later. So at least like doing the error checking here, because at some point I'm going to have to parse, or I'm going to want to get back the HTTP header code, which is going to tell me if everything was a-okay. But right now I don't care for that, so I'm going to go ahead and delete my testing and just do some cleanup. So let's make sure that the connection, okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and remove that stuff there. Remove that breakpoint. Yeah, hey, would anyone be interested in actually seeing this kind of work in action? I can always spin up IRC and try to get this into the channel, and if you guys want to join in, you can. You can see output show up here. Just going to write some to-dos. Anyone have any questions or anything? Okay, gonna add that to do there. Probably going to want to increase this buffer at some point. I'm going to go ahead and clean that up and put a constant there. Set that to 250 so I can use that in other places. So let's go search for 250. Okay, those are the only two places. And then I called it max URL buff. So max URL buff. I just refreshed the chat window a moment ago, so I don't know if it's actually working. So if people are typing stuff in and I'm not seeing it, I'm so sorry. It should be fine though. Let me change rooms. Yeah. Okay. So that should be fine. Let's see, what else do I have here? Oh yeah, because I'm not done parsing out the message. That's going to be an issue. Okay, I think at some point I'm going to want to create another thread. Because I already have one thread for reading IRC. I have one thread that I want to have be responsible for parsing out the commands that come in, do the actual interpretation of the commands, and then probably have another thread that's actually going to send data or buffer data and then send it off to Elasticsearch so it's constantly running as some sort of a background task there. So that way my application kind of runs in a stream fashion where we have input gets kind of streamed in line by line. Technically character by character, then it gets converted into lines, then streamed in by lines, parsed out into messages, and then buffered those messages out to Elasticsearch is kind of the approach I want to take with that. So I'm just going to set myself a reminder that I want to do that at some point. Let's see if I have any other to-dos laying around. Error flags for curl. So for this library, maybe I might want to set up some error handling too at some point. I don't have any like real plans for releasing this out to the wild as a library, but someone mentioned that they might want me to do that at some point. Something about a type. I don't know what that's all about. Why would I even have that? I put it somewhere in my I probably mentioned that somewhere in my other videos. Okay. Alright. Man, there's a lot I could clean up in here. A lot, just way too much. I started writing out this like function pointer that curl will use to write data to, and I can do stuff with it, but I don't think I'm actually going to end up using it in the long run. I'm going to set this to be in my debugger. 2.1L, okay. And then I can always be explicit because I think it defaults to 1 outside of that. So when debugger's on, it should kick it to 1. Otherwise, go ahead and leave it alone. Just going to go ahead and remove this line here. Put it there. I'm pretty sure I did a good job of all my cleanup. I know that there's memory cleanup, but I know there's more in here that needs to be dealt with. For instance, I should send the quit command out before I to the server before I officially do a shutdown of the socket. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that because this is defined by the spec, but I don't want to do that before the join. I want to do that here, do the disconnect, and then it's going to wait for the thread to finish, and then close out and do cleanup. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, leave it like that. I just want to make sure everything's working okay. So I know I asked if anyone wanted me to do this, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. I don't know where my video or my windows are at on this. Show all windows. There should be another window. Connections. Okay. So here we go. This is the IRC channel I'm in. It's at IP 38 229.70.22. It's on port 6667 is what I'm using to connect to it. I'm going to go ahead and run my bot. Let's make sure that I have information coming in, and it looks like I am. So here in a moment, it's going to join me to the channel, or join the bot to the channel. There it goes. This is what I was talking about earlier in regards to the actual message. So this is the prefix piece to it. 376 is the command. Here's a parameter, and then I don't know, probably other parameters. So yeah, that's kind of what we have going on here. So we should start seeing messages if I just type cool beans bro, and there it shows up. So as I was saying earlier in this video, as far as the message is concerned, this is the prefix command. This is the channel. And then here's the message, cool beans bro, as a parameter. So that's how that works. If anyone's typing in the channel, I'm sorry, I'm not seeing anything pop up. Let me refresh the Twitch page again, make sure everything's a-okay in the stream chat. All right, cool. All right, well, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and close out the video. I have just a few more minutes left before my hour's up. But I'm just going to go ahead and call it early because I got done what I wanted to get done tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect. Okay, so as always, I can be found at the bottom of this Twitch feed at YouTube and GitHub. This project specifically is at GitHub / my name, click on repositories, and it's Elastic IRC Bot. So all code can be found in here. So up to this date, I'm going to add in tonight the commit, what I did tonight here. I'm going to name it in a similar fashion, except today is the 2nd, so I just had to double check that to make sure. And then all of tonight's code will be up there. This should be video number on YouTube. This will be video number 12, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so I didn't upload the one from yesterday just yet, but by clicking that link, it'll take you to here, and here's the playlist of everything, 2 through 12, which will be tonight. All right, thanks for watching. I would appreciate more comments next time if you guys decide to follow. I love reading that stuff in chat, so let's just keep it up. All right, sweet. That's all I have. Good night.